PIC, Commission of Inquiry. Let's move on now. OutSystems brings us into light with what's happening in the world of technology. Craig Terblanche, who is the Regional Director for OutSystems, Southern Africa, joins us now for more. Craig, good to have you on the show. Oftentimes, the past 2 years, we're hearing words like disruption and AI. Well, that's not really a word, but you get my drift. Just give us a sense of how hard is it to actually keep afloat or in front of the trend as it does unfold?
I think it's not that, it's quite difficult for legacy organizations because they have a lot of technology that does what I call keeps them legacy bound, so the technology that they've invested in over the last 20 years in some cases is fast becoming out of date, and that's keeping them legacy bound. So it becomes difficult for them to leverage artificial intelligence, which is the buzzword of the moment.
Right, but how do you not become a MySpace or an IBM? I know IBM has had a serious turnaround, and now it's really moving towards cloud technology and that, and you get my drift here. How do you not become a Yahoo, maybe, if I could say that? There's no simple answer to that. It really depends on the organization. But one of the things that is very important in the modern space is not to think in terms of the way systems were replaced historically, and that was in a big bang kind of way. You took your old systems and you retired a huge legacy infrastructure and you put in a new system which actually became legacy infrastructure quite quickly. So the modern way is to carpet the organization with a digital capability that allows you to leverage services like artificial intelligence into and from what you've got, identifying the gaps in data, the gaps in customer engagement that you've got, and closing those gaps and providing the convenience that mobile, for example, provides. But then adding things like artificial intelligence to identify additional opportunities to serve the customer better or to provide better service from the back office. Craig, just this month we got the sad news that Standard Bank was actually closing close to 19 branches, and the figures in terms of jobs are just painful to mention.
Absolutely.
Just give me a sense of the cost of not adapting. Can we quantify this at this time?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's a legacy cost. It's a cost of investing in technology that hasn't actually taken you forward. Is the real issue, and it's huge. I mean, the numbers are out there in terms of what the likes of Standard Bank have actually spent on technology, and I guess one could argue that they might have spent on some of the wrong things in some cases, because now they've had to close branches, and it's a surprise. That's the sad part.
Let alone writing off those
assets.
assets.
That's the sad part. Yeah. Exactly.
It's definitely sad. Finally, any pointers when it comes to some companies that are, in your view, really ahead when it comes to innovation? I know that's a word that's used oftentimes, but just give me a sense of the companies here that do stand out.
So there's a movement around what's called the Exponential Organisations. So these are organisations that are really leveraging the modern technology to leverage the ability to go exponential, to grow exponential, grow 10 times a year rather than 10% a year, is the notion of the Exponential Organisation. There's a chap by the name of Salim Ismail who was actually down in Cape Town recently at the Topco conference, and he explained some of these exponential technologies and how they're leveraging disruption, demonetization, dematerialization, calls it the 6 Ds of disruption, to get away from being legacy bound and really leverage these modern technologies to grow at a pace that is unheard of, and become, in some cases where you take new organizations like the Uber, which is the most common overused example, become a unicorn in less than 10 years. So a privately owned business that's worth over $1 billion. Those are the kind of organizations. But the other ones, Amazon,
Alibaba, all the ones you've
the
heard.
usual suspects.
All the ones the usual suspects are all considered exponential organizations. The trick now is for legacy organizations to learn to become exponential. That's the trick. Yeah.
Great, good to have you on the show. That was Greg Terblanche, who is the regional director for OutSystems Southern Africa, and I'm afraid that's where we have to leave it for this edition of Parliament South Africa. I'm off for lunch.